Clay Roberts, for those of you who don't know me. I am, again, the founder of all things Fatherhood. Uh, this film was born pretty much from my book. If you've read my book, you kind of know most of those questions came out of that book. The organization that I founded was created from that book and this film. So, with that said, I am going to actually have some targeted questions for a couple of my cast members, and then I'm going to open it up to you guys, and then we'll go from there. So hopefully you guys got some questions for them. If you got questions for me, fine. Alvaro, I'm going to start with you, like we did last time. So, specifically, I'd like to know two things. One, when I reached out to you about doing this film, what did you exactly think it would be like? And did you envision doing this?
When you first asked me, at first I kind of thought it would be like a more localized thing, more close-knit kind of discussion group thing. But with all my work, I approach it as like I want the world to see it. So like I took it serious and probably put I can't even count how many hours I put into this film.
I can. Me too.
But my parents have witnessed me. Probably some days I didn't go to sleep and they witnessed me. Like sometimes I had to cuss me out, like, bro, get some rest. So
yeah, I think I told you that a couple times.
You also told me that. So it's like it's just like a certain, I don't know, it's like a certain work ethic within me where I'm like, I know I have this ability, and then to manifest it and to be able to do this, like one, to be sitting in here right now is like a testament that God works very, very hard and well for us if we truly believe and have faith in Him. But also, like, if you believe in yourself and other people support you, you got a good head on your shoulders, like you can make anything happen. So when you told me that we had potential to get it in wealthy, like I was like, oh yeah, it's go time for sure.
Yeah, I remember when we were filming, and I think it was the second interview, and you were like, oh yeah, this is going. So I asked you that because I remember sitting next to you when you said that, and I was like, I don't think he understood what he signed up for. But the other question for you is kind of what I asked at our last showing, but I don't think most people know this, but this is your first featured film documentary that you worked on. You have your own company called Worthy Ones Art Collective. So again, I'd ask you to speak to that, let the audience know how Worthy Ones came about, and any other projects you got working on currently now and in the future, and how they can find you if they want to hire you.
So I started Worthy Ones. It was pen and paper in high school. I never really had time to pursue it because I was doing basketball full time. And so once I got to college off a basketball scholarship and academic scholarship. So once again, didn't really have time. And then once COVID hit, we got stuck in our dorm, just kind of sitting there like, what can I do to potentially progress myself and figure out what I want to do in life. And art was always a big passion for me. And I remember one day I was sitting in my dorm and decided to pick up a camera, and one day filmed one of my teammates, and from there just kind of like my life changed. I started doing vlogs and stuff, but then I got asked to do a project for like a hip hop or rap battle event, and that was my first like major gig, and my first video touched like 6,000 views, and from there like I knew that was kind of my purpose. And then from there I started the business, and I wanted it to be more so revolved around mental health awareness, because that's kind of where the idea of Worthy Ones stemmed from. I just, like I said, never got a chance to, but as of late, I don't have any current projects right now. I'm kind of trying to take a break. If anything, I'm getting ready to prepare for summer drops for my clothing line. But other than that, I got the chance to present to a couple of classes and get to share my story and also what I'm trying to do in the future with the youth and other programs. So, oh yeah, also I graduate May 4th. I'm the first person in my family to do so. So I graduate.
All right, on to my cast members.
Do y'all want this mic? Can y'all hear them fairly well up there?
Okay. I'll hand this to you for you to see. Sorry. I want to know, when I made the post about doing this film, what made you sign up for it, and B, how do you feel now after this entire experience about the project?
Wait, you're closest first.
I honestly didn't know what I was signing up for, just because the way that you asked me and because of how we knew each other. I'm like, there's gotta be something bigger. But if Clay's asking me, like, yeah, I'll go in and speak about fatherhood, this is way more beautiful than what I intended. Obviously this is the last showing, so, seeing some of the other people comment reviews and stuff, like, I knew it was bigger. But I also knew once we started filming and started asking questions, every dad was like, at some point, like, dang, that was a loaded question. I wasn't prepared to answer this, but yeah, man, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of this. Like, this is awesome.
I didn't think it was gonna be this deep. What's dog that?
Victor.
The Hispanic dude.
Victor?
Yeah, I came in after him and he was crying. So I'm like, what is going on? So I didn't think it was gonna be that deep. I just thought we was just gonna talk about like being a father. And now that like it's like in the movie theater, which I always wanted to be on the TV screen. So shout out to you all for that. But yeah, it's kind of dope to like be the start of something that's really amazing, and that's something that needs to be shown and be said, and so people know how like what fathers go through, because we go through some crazy stuff. So I just think it's good that we got to speak on it and get our voices out and start something that's going to lead to something very monumental.
I'm gonna actually keep it right there with you. You're actually one of the few fathers in the film that can speak to some of the challenges of being a single dad and the child support system directly. Once you elaborate a little bit more on that, like what has the experience been like that for you post-film? Obviously you have your daughter sitting here with you. Has there been any revelations about yourself or things you could have done better since seeing this film?
I think I might be the only single guy in this movie.
Victor's the other one.
Okay. It's tough. Even leading up to the movie coming out, I personally kind of went through some stuff with like one of my baby moms. She was kind of mad that I was in it, and she was trying to get me taken out. It's tough, I don't get the assistance and the help, and everything I do is on my own, so I'll be beefed out with her mom beefed out right now. But it's tough, you know what I'm saying, because you just gotta do everything on your own. There's no assistance, there's no help. Even when I tried to get 50-50 custody for her and get all child support, they still kept me on child support. So it's just a lot that goes through it. And even with after the film, it just kind of showed me that like there's other people that go through what I went through, and it gave me an outlet to be able to talk to more people. So it helps me out a lot, you know, being able to go to the meetings when I can, or just being able to talk to people about the movie and about everything. It kind of makes me proud that I can do that now. It helps me be more vulnerable to, especially to her, because she's a girl. So it was just a big help for me through this whole process.
I'm gonna leave it there, and then y'all can run it down this way. Any unique perspectives after seeing it? I know Dom's, it's your first time watching it. That you guys pulled from it. Obviously, there's different age groups and anything. So, can you speak to what the generational perspective is in this film, and what you might have gathered that you might not have maybe necessarily looked at prior to shooting this film? You too, I've already, yeah.
For sure. For me, it was a learning opportunity because, like growing up, my dad he didn't leave my life, but he left my life pretty early, and like I didn't necessarily know why or like what made him feel like he had to. So it's kind of like left with open-ended questions, and at times when he would have conversations with me, it was just left open-ended, and I was always asking questions and never knew why. So when you asked me the day to film this, the first thing I had, like the first question I asked in my head was like, how much am I about to learn right now? And I didn't know how much I was about to learn, and like just the fact that all the fathers were so vulnerable, like how they were, like blew my mind. But that helped me also learn like kids like me, like what we're dealing with. It's like there's two sides of everything. There's three sides. There's the moms, the dads, and the kids. Like we all are dealing with this. So it's like for us all to share an experience, but we all feel it a different way, to be able to be a part of the group that starts, like Ray said, to be a part of something that's monumental and can change other people's lives. Like for me, it was like a no-brainer that I could do this. So thank you for reading.
I think it was pretty cool to see, because we had dads all the way from 60 down to
68,
68. So,
70.
so basically, don't even that old. So 70 down to low 30s, upper 20s. Because I even remember when you sent us a message saying, "Hey, we're about to have an open discussion. There's some stuff that we're going to talk about that you guys aren't going to agree on." So I got a little like, maybe I may not go to this discussion. But some of those questions were tough questions to answer, but also to hear other men answer, because you can tell, because Victor, it was almost had me tearing up listening to him, because some of the stuff that he was saying was coming out broken, because he was like trying to get through it. So it put me in a sense where fathers are all at a different level for themselves, and you gotta take that and accept it for what it is, because it's again a constant learning curve, but also you don't know what the next father's dealing with. Like we're all dealing with something, but you don't know what they're really dealing with. So it was eye-opening for me, and I say that because of the questions that we asked directly were the ones about can a woman raise a man, basically. Before that conversation, I would say no. Absolutely not. And then you got to think about what the dynamics of the question is, where it's just like, how is that woman rooted and where are her branches? So the uncles, the pastors, the youth ministers, things like that. So it changed my narrative and my answers to that question. So yeah.
Ray, you want to answer that? Or?
It kind of changed my perspective a lot, and it kind of helped me like look at my dad a little different. Like I said in the film, like he kind of left when I was 11. So for me, kind of hearing from the older gentlemen about how their father was and how they was and how society was during their time frames. So I kind of look at like what I went through or what other people went through. So I kind of like gave my dad a break. So I try to talk to him a little bit more. So hearing like certain stats and certain things like that, it just kind of opened my eyes a little bit more to being open to trying to communicate with my sons more, because I got 3 sons, and communicate with my dad a little bit more. So it was kind of eye-opening through this whole process.
Okay, I'm open up to the audience to ask whatever questions you might have for any of the cast members or myself.
I don't need the mic. First of all, I want to say hats off, right? Hats off to all of you for this project, for bringing light to the unsung fathers, right? If we know what we know that fathers are a pivotal part of society. It takes a unit, a village to raise a child. You gotta see both sides, male and female, right? As a woman, at a young age, being a single mom, right? My son had a father, but we broke up by the time we were 20. So, some women today, where we fail, where we miss it, we don't understand that it's not, this is my baby. No, this is our baby, right? We didn't make them by ourselves. So we need that man to come alongside and help us raise this being, right? I just say hats off to you all, everyone in the cast, your vision, this young man here, just a genius that brought it all together. And it's a movement now. My husband is also doing something called the locker room for men. Because men don't have an outlet to be vulnerable, to share what's going on inside. As black men, you going out that door in the morning, you already against it, right? Your mind, you're being combative. Just hats off to the space that Clay is providing for you guys to come and get that, whatever it is, out. So I just wanted to say, not really a question, but applaud you for a job well done.
I just want to know what's next for this project. How far is this going to go? What are you planning on doing with it? Is it going to be in more theaters? Or how are you going to promote it? Because I think it's something that people generally need to see and to be aware of.
So this specific project, this is the last theatrical showing that I'm gonna do for it. I've already knows I'm trying to get us in on a streaming platform, whether that's Netflix, Hulu, or whatever. I am still doing my best to work out some SRT issues. I've already done everything I think he knows how to do to get this file formatted properly, but we're having some struggles and things, so I think I'm gonna have to like maybe pay somebody else to figure that out for me. But as far as this specific project, I am trying to get it on a major streaming platform so the world can see. I've done everything that I can think of as far as advertising for this project, from Facebook ads to having everybody share it, to handing out flyer cards to get people to come out. I appreciate the audience. We've had 3, we have fairly decent turnouts for every single one. It's just a little difficult sometimes to get people to do certain things. I know they'll probably tell you, but I make a lot of statuses about getting men to do things because most of my audience has been women. And this film, while I wanted women to get the perspective of what men go through, this was supposed to be an appreciation video for fathers and men. it's been kind of a struggle to kind of get some men out. But I'm hoping if it gets on those platforms, they'll watch it, the word is spread, and it'll do what it's supposed to do. Oh, well, oh, yeah, there's going to be more films outside of this one. I have a goal of doing 4. I have a YouTube channel where I'm going to be doing specific podcast interviews. That's exactly literally what this was supposed to be. Originally, it was supposed to just be me interviewing these dads and throwing it on the YouTube channel. A virus genius, after he sent it to me, and I watched it, I said, this gotta go further than that. Like, I knew it was, like, my vision was, okay, it'll be big, but I didn't know how big, because honestly, I'm trusting this 21-year-old kid with my vision, and I really don't know what he's gonna do with it, right? And when I got it back the first time, I'll tell you a full transparent post about this. I mean, not post, but story about this. I was a little intoxicated. Came home from that party and hanging out, and he sent it to me. And my wife will tell you, I'm in the living room just going crazy because he has nailed every aspect of what I wanted to come across. And I'm just cheering and jumping and yelling. And she's like, "Shut up, you know, wake up for the baby." I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. But he did such a great job that initially, like he said, I thought we would just go to Wealthy Theater, right? I'll have a show in there and just throw it on my YouTube channel. Wealthy Theater, that's in Grand Rapids. And I was like, nah, we gotta take this a little further than that. And so everything has just been progressing extremely fast from the moment. Like, we shot, I think, was it November 17th and 18th?
November 17th and 18th.
Yeah, course of 2 days, 7-8 hours worth of film. I think when you got it to, like, closer to the end of January, I think something like that. It's been a process, but so many great things that have happened since the release of my book and since the filming. And I can't keep up with it all one man. I have my wife. I have some of the guys from the organization who's helped me do a few things, but I'm trying to do 2 or 3 more films. At some point, the next film's going to be the mother's perspective on fatherhood. I'd love to get kids' perspective on fatherhood, specifically some of the men who's in the film, and then some of those women who's in the film, because as I've already stated, there's 3 sides to the coin. So, and then the very last film, the idea I have for it is to basically bring men and women together and let's figure out a solution. So yeah, that's under the generational fatherhood tag. That's what I envision doing. But there's a lot of different things under the All Things Fatherhood brand, my company, in the film and just podcasting YouTube space that I'm going to do to spread light on fatherhood. Anyone else?
This is for like the audience. Do you think we as men need to prioritize our mental health more so? Because we talked about vulnerability a lot in the film. I feel like a lot of us as men are so focused on that providing aspect of whether we're providing for ourselves or the women in our lives or our children. We're so focused on that we sometimes shrug our feelings off. So do you feel like that's like things like therapy need to be explored more by all generations of fathers?
I had a therapist for about 2 years now. It's been the best 2 years of my life. I wish I could get my dad to go to therapy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's we take it as a task versus a form of release. And our form of release, no disrespect, because you know I love my bourbon and whiskey. But you know, it's drinking, it's smoking. It's multiple things that's a release for us as men. And I mean, even more so, a night with the boys. It's a great release, right? But it's not a healthy release all the time. And I think therapy is a roadmap to a healthy release. And I say that because as I sit here, I got both my kids with me, and I'll go places sometimes. People go, "Where's your wife at?" My wife's got goals too. But if I wasn't in therapy, I wouldn't be able to understand that and get frustrated. Like, why she got to be busy and I have both the kids. This is my legacy. And she's out there laying some more foundation down while I'm taking care of this part of it. Tomorrow it'll be her turn. But without therapy, it will be a battle versus who gets to do what, who's got more free time. So I advise every man, I advise anybody, but especially men in general, black, white, Latino, seek out a therapist. And don't just seek out one, find a therapist that you can vibe with. Because a lot of people will get a therapy and they'll get a therapist, and the therapist has just like any other job, they got a checklist. And how they go about that checklist is gonna tell you a lot about that. Right? You find somebody that got a checklist that's customized towards you because they gotta go for you, that's the therapist you wanna be with. So yeah, I think everybody needs to go into therapy. And it's not therapy as in like, oh, there's something wrong with you, but it's something right with you. You just gotta tune it in. That's it.
I'm gonna pick you up back off that for a minute to you, Terry. I'm a huge advocate for men's mental health. Specifically, I've done counseling therapy over the course of my life. I think it's highly important. Part of what I wanted to do with this film was make it therapeutic. I think a lot of the fathers that were involved, and we don't have a lot of them here, they can attest, they've spoken to the therapeutical aspects of this for them. I am no therapist. I do know how to ask the right questions though, to get some things out of you, but I think it's very important, specifically we as men, take those lanes and deal with our mental health, because without them, you go crazy. A lot of us take our lives. The suicide rate is extremely high amongst men right now. And if you don't have any outlets, if you're only using alcohol or the hangouts with your boys to deal with whatever you got going on, it's gonna eat you alive. So, go ahead, T.
First of all, I don't even. First of all, I want to say that, Varn, you did a sensational job, man. And when I'm looking at the credits, I'm like, this dude is talented. So, man, hats off to you, because that's an amazing talent to have, and it's much needed. And I'm glad you didn't stay in your silo. You came out of that. You provided something that was so paramount. To the fathers, man, I listen. I can't say kudos enough, because you guys are destroying the stereotype of men with their children, especially black men with their children, because a lot of people believe that we just have kids and leave, and that's not the case. And so providing this kind of information the way you guys presented it is phenomenal. I think that is just phenomenal. Curtis said something, and I wish he was here sitting in that seat, because I wanted to speak to what he said. He said, as men, we need this space to come and talk. And it's so paramount that we have this space, because a lot of men feel like they don't have anybody to talk to. And I think it was Curtis who said something about the wife. He couldn't talk to the wife as a man. Something like that. He attested to something like that. I believe it was Curtis. And as my wife spoke to, I started a men's meeting called the Men's Locker Room, and we meet twice a month, and every month. And what the men's locker room was designed to be is that safe space that Curtis was talking about. That safe, non-judgmental space where we can come and talk about all things men. And when me and Clay connected, and he said all things fatherhood, I was like, man, we do all things men. I saw the fabric of what we both doing this. It was being woven together. So when we talk about men's mental health, that is so important, because sometimes we need those places, those safe spaces, non-judgmental spaces, where men can come and pour out and cry if he wants to. We had a man in our group that said, I only been a man for 11 years, and he was 55 years old, and he was in tears about his reasoning. So this safe space is needed. This dialogue is so needed. And again, I say, there's the stats that you presented, Clay, of the men that were incarcerated because of no fathers. I'm a product of that as well. I didn't have a father in my house, and I ended up being incarcerated. And so when I look at those stats, they speak to a volume of things, but the bigger volume is the men who are growing up without fathers are dying in the streets. And so what you guys are doing is kind of like that cohesiveness. It's the beginning of what we need to repair the fabric of not only what fatherhood is, but what manhood looks like. Having somebody in your community that it takes the whole community to raise these men. And so, I take my hats off to you guys. And they call me the long-winded preacher, so I'm not going to talk too long. Client already told me to keep it short. So. But I just wanted to say that because what you guys are doing here, man, is so needed. Because most fathers don't stand up, and they need to stand up. And that's what we're about when we talk about men's mental health. Because I sought out a psych. It was like, man, I need somebody to talk to because my mental health is at stake. You know, because we go through so much and we shoulder so much. And so men's mental health is so important to us. And if there's anything that we can do together, man, listen, together we can take down a lion. I'm telling you guys, we can take down a lion because there's nothing like unification. But hats off to you guys. I just wanted to say that. This is amazing.
Any other questions?
My name is Heaven. I work for Youth for Christ in the Kent County Juvenile Detention Center in the Muskegon Transition Center. And so I work with mostly boys ages 12 to 18, and a lot of them are dads. Or sometimes they claim to be dads, and they're like, this girl might be pregnant, I don't know. And so I just, like, how can I better come alongside them and, like, give them resources? And I'm not a man, so, like, what can I do to, like, help them be a better father at such a young age?
Y'all want to take that or you want me to answer?
You can take it. I got some.
I'll let you.
Now I have a son. He's 4. But before I had him, I had this little one right here wrapped around my finger. I say that because in the film, I forgot who said it, but it's just like every dad wants a boy, right? I spent a lot of time mentoring before I had my son. I took a little bit of a seat back, but I still try to be present where I can. There's several programs. Actually, this past weekend, I did a conference called We Matter Now in Grand Rapids, and it was a combination of Henry Sapp, Better, Wiser, Stronger, and Andre Brown is Young Money Finances. The year prior to that, there was an organization called the Delta Project that targets young men and grown men that have been put into the system to help them get acclimated better with their children. We were doing like a fatherhood group pre-COVID once this hit, but Cole Williams will be a good point of contact for you. He runs the Delta Project, but also, you know, giving it to the young men straight of, you know, essentially, what would you want to see out of those men is what's going on, because I mean, I'd say every man that's attracted to a woman is going to do something to attract her back, right? So kind of setting that standard of, hey, no woman wants to see a deadbeat dad. No real woman, you know, regardless if that's her child or not, if she wants to be a part of that man's life, she knows she's gonna have to accept that child too. So what do I look like accepting 2 kids? You know what I'm saying? So finding out where they're at mentally, and doing the best you can to assess that. Because I think and then bringing in, if you can bring in volunteers, you know, and I don't know if you guys have connected before, but any information I can pass along to get you some volunteers, if you guys can do that for other men to come in and talk to them, honestly, that's what it takes. Because every man has had kids and has wanted to be a part of their kid's life. They've had some type of dynamic for them to struggle with it one way or another. So sometimes it just takes hearing from a different person, and it may be the same thing, just a different sentence in a different person. So that's what I would suggest.
And to piggyback off down, like, I've been a mentor, coach, you name it, I've pretty much done it when it comes to helping out our youth. My organization is obviously based in Grand Rapids. I live in Muskegon now. We do the Fatherhood group, which is aimed not just for men in my age demographic, but realistically to get those guys who want to be fathers and who are young fathers to come be a part of the group, and to also mingle and listen to experienced fathers to help them on their path, right? And so I piggyback off of the volunteer opportunities, bringing people in that they can identify with and understand their actual paths that kind of went through it. I became a parent at 18, fresh out of high school. Ray can kind of attest to some of that as well. So we both kind of understand the struggle of being a young parent and trying to make it that way. So that is something that I would recommend. I know it's kind of funny because I just recently met Terry over the past 2 months. We have connected on a few things. We are actually supposed to sit down at some point and talk about some stuff we can do for the community as far as what you're talking about. But I do believe getting those young individuals around me in our spaces, specifically like Terry's space here with the men's locker room, if you can send them there and let them listen to us and join in the conversation. Terry does a great job of handling his 2-hour meeting that sometimes goes to 3 hours. But I think like if you guys can incorporate that since you're out here and I'm out here, I'm willing to help at any point. So.
We are accepting volunteers, so if anyone wants to come help out.
Okay. Did you have a question? Oh. Anybody else? Well, that was perfect timing because I only got 4 more minutes left in this year. So, I just want to say thank you guys, everyone, for coming out, experiencing this with us. If you are in the Grand Rapids area and you are a dad, we have a monthly meeting every third Sunday. Most of the guys have been. Larry is also a part of that when he can get there, even though he's not a dad. He likes to come and be a part of it. So, thank you. I appreciate y'all, and y'all have a good night.